The film we're seeing this weekend is a really wonderful one called The Killer of Sheep. It's by Charles Burnett. It's not like any of the other films we've seen this year. It was a project, a master's thesis project when he was at UCLA. So it's a student film, but it's a student film, certainly one of the very best, and has an incredible life after it was made. It's interesting because it couldn't really be released. Nobody could release it because he did not have the money to pay for the music rights of the film. And he felt the music was so necessary for this film. And he literally the film was shelved for almost 30 years. And it basically does not follow a plot. It sort of moves along. And so those of you that expect some kind of ordered plot, some climax, some big events that are going to be spectacular, will find yourself a bit puzzled or disappointed unless you realize what the film really is about. We don't have very many films about ordinary life. Films have to have some kind of form, some kind of reason. They have to have splash, something that's interesting. And so films about really ordinary life, just looking at the way people live, are very rare. What I realize now is that this film takes on, The Killer of Sheep, takes on enormous importance in this particular year. As you know, 2020, I like to describe it as the year of atonement, retribution. We've had to turn around and face a lot of dark things, not only in our history and the founding of our country, but of course the way we have dealt with the black population, the way that the government and many white people have dealt with them. And we have had to face the possibility of, losing our democracy. That all has come in 1 year. So I think a film like this is so important to fill you in about what hasn't happened. White people in this country really had never even paid attention to black lives in their community. They somehow imagined they were somewhere else, and they put them out of their awareness of what was going on. In the 60s, no, some people became very aware and really began to look at poverty and its result and its the way it worked in communities. But in general, this consciousness has certainly come about this year. And I think this film is one of the films that shows you a little bit about, how people really lived. And it's not that they are, you'll never see scenes of persecution. You won't even see scenes of racial prejudice. What you do is you see the toll that basically poverty and a sense of not having any, action in their lives, not being able to, be the master of their own lives. I think it's a subtext you want to pay attention to in this film. You also, you're going to be a little off put by the production values because they did not have really great sound often in the films, and so it's going to be a little erratic. It's going to create a kind of harshness. But what that does, what the entire production does, is it makes the film much more authentic. You are watching real people. Of course, you're watching actors in a story, but you feel like that you are looking at a real world, and it's one that you should pay attention to. I think the other incredible virtue, it shows a very good family, a man that has a terrible job. It's so demeaning. He is exhausted every night to the point that he hardly can, be with his family. He is always tired. And he also always tries to do something in the house. He tries to repair things, to do something that needs to be done, to show that he is basically a, good father. But I think It's the genuineness of the film and its total believability. And it is I think it's the caring quality, the relationship between people, the things that make, life with anyone that is having an ordinary life, it makes it meaningful. You will see that, don't look for the kind of hot, exciting things to happen. I mean, you watch the ordinary things that happen that illustrate the lives of the people you're looking at. So have some patience. Sit with the film and really try to see as much as possible. It is a marvelous experience. I'm so happy to share it with you. And I really would love to know what you have to say about it afterwards. So thank you.